Right, so we are here for the final time of all time, the final ever pointing of Assassin's Creed 2. It started with this. This is pointing 13, Puntamento. If you're not familiar with the term pointing, it's something that started in Assassin's Creed. As you know, I'm going to assume you know actually if you've been a pointer. I should probably start this again, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to make the best out of what I've just done already. Anyway, this is pointing. This is where I go around collecting feathers, or in this case, I'm just going to be doing viewpoints. But I basically walk around the district, so you get a look at the district, so you get to see the level design, and get used to it sort of thing. This is also where I do read off database entries that we've got. I do it like an audiobook style, so yeah, we do that. And if you are a pointer, I died already. That was a good start. Yeah, so if you are watching this, you are now officially a pointer. So let's begin. I'm going to start off with the database entries. I don't know which ones we've got, so I'm going to have to try and scroll through and find out which ones I need. Right, I don't think there's any people. It doesn't look like it. No, there's no target search. It just looks like it's locations at the moment. And I believe it's just Florence, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, okay, so the first one is Loggia del Lanzi, built between 1376 and 1382 by Benici di Chiona and Simone di Francesco Talenti. The Loggia di Lanzi was created to provide a covering for the swearing in of the members of the Signoria, the rulers of Florence. In the 16th century, the Medici had a private balcony constructed on top, making it clear to the city of Florence who was really in charge. Right, so the next one is Oltarno District. You can see there in the background I've just used that new springboard thing. Anyway, Oltarno District. The district across the river as it is... The district across the river, as it is referred to by the Florentine Antonino, literally means on the other side of the Arno. Oltarno is one of the oldest areas of the city and heavily populated by craftsmen. In addition, the religious community is well represented with the monastery and church of Santo Spirito. Later in Florentine history, the Medici bought the Pitti Palace, connecting it to the Palazzo della Signoria and the Olfresi with a series of secret passages, one of which crossed the upper level of the Ponte Verrocchio. The network was a smart investment considering all of the different people throughout the Renaissance who had attempted to kill them. Okay, and the next one is Palazzo Pitti. Palazzo Pitti, from Rebecca. You should check out the view from the top. Intended as a grand display of wealth by Luca Pitti, the Pitti Palace was left incomplete when Luca ran out of money and died in 1472. The severe Roman-style architecture is reminiscent of the craggy stone arches of the ancient imperial aqueducts found outside Rome. Okay, and then there is some more, which are from later this week. We don't technically find out we go to Rome, but we do go to Rome. This is a bit of a hint for you pointers. But from Rome, we've got three. We've got Balisca di San Pietro, the original St. Peter's Balisca, built in 326 as opposed to the epic Balisca that exists today, was constructed in the form of a Latin cross and artium, called the Garden of Paradise, stood at the entrance beckoning followers through the main doorways of the church. Unlike pagan temples, which were lavishly decorated, the facade of St. Peter's was plain. Thankfully, Catholicism got over all of that when they made the new St. Peter's. Of course, the downside was that the religion became incredibly corrupt. Hey, beauty has to come at a price. The Balisca was built on top of the old Circus de Nero, but before you start pulling out your popcorn and cotton candy, there wasn't a modern circus. The Roman crucifixes of Christians was the main act. St. Peter, among many others, was hung up to die there. The Balisca was built on top of this anti-Christian site as almost an intentional modification of history by Emperor Constantine. Because if it no longer exists, it never happened, right? Cappella Sistina. Inspired by the architecture of Solomon's Temple, the Sistine Chapel is the most famous room of the Apostolico Palace, the Pope's Vatican residence. The chapel's famous ceiling frescoes did not exist yet in 1503, so no climbing across the finger of God, but the wall paintings that line the chapel, painted by Pietro Perugino, Sandro Botticelli, and Domenico Ghirlandaio, among others, are an ample consolation prize. As the Pope's personal chapel, Mass is frequently held inside, as are the papal conclaves which occur after the Pope's death. The cardinals are locked inside the chapel and are not permitted to leave until a new Pope is elected. Only through smoke signals sent up by the chimney to announce the new Pope can they escape. And just a little hint, I know about this. If it's white smoke, the Pope has been decided, or the new Pope has been decided upon. If it's grey smoke, then they're still deciding. And worst of all horrors, no cardinals, unless ill, can be attended inside by more than one servant. That's just cruel.
Ottaviano Riario, date of birth 1479, profession Count Noble. Ottaviano entered the service of the Florentine Republic as a Conteniero when he was 19 at the request of his mother Caterina Sforza, who wanted to cement the amiable relations with Florence. He commanded 100 men from Forli, but terminated his contract after only a year because Florence didn't have the money to pay him. Despite a count which described Ottaviano as obese, brainless and under his mother's thumb, Pope Alexander VI, Rodrigo Borgia, offered his daughter Lucrezia to Ottaviano. Why? Because Rodrigo decided that those were traits he could tolerate in a son-in-law, as long as the son-in-law was the key to controlling the territories of Forli and Imola. Plus his praying mantis of a daughter, Lucrezia rarely stayed married to one man for long. Her husbands tended to sign declarations of impotence, or just simply disappeared. Wisely, Caterina declined the marriage, engaging the Pope and leading to his son Cesare's assault on Forli. When Caterina was ousted by Cesare and entered her exile in Florence, under her guidance Ottaviano attempted to convince the new Pope Julius II to give him back the lordship of Imola and Forli, but instead Ottaviano ended up selling the Riario claim to Julius for an IOU no less. Bianca Riario, date of birth 1478, profession noble. Some people live a dream. Bianca Riario was not one of those people. In 1484, at the age of 6, she witnessed the sacking of her family palazzo in Rome and was carried by her lunatic warrior mother into siege at the Castel Sant'Angelo. Next, dragged by her family to Forli, far more horrifying delights awaited her. Shortly after Bianca's 10th birthday, her father, Girolamo, was stabbed to death and his naked body was thrown into the middle of the town square. Then her family's palazzo was sacked again and she was kidnapped by the Orsi brothers. Bianca escaped to Orsi and returned to her mother. How exactly this escape was accomplished is unknown. Then, when she was 16, while out on a hunting expedition with her mother's new husband, Giacomo Theo, she witnessed his brutal ambush and assassination. In 1500, Bianca's mother was taken prisoner by Cesare Borgia and apparently raped by Rodrigo Borgia and Cesare. Cesare then killed Bianca's husband, Astor III Manfredi, in 1502. She married again, and this time to a count, Trillo e del Rossi, who died in 1521, at which point she wisely decided to give up on life and went to her grave sometime around 1522. Brother O'Callaghan, date of birth 1452, profession monk. Born beyond the Pale, outside the area of British control in Ireland, which was considered savage, hence the expression beyond the Pale, Darby O'Callaghan spent his teen years hunting and raiding British settlements. In his papers, he describes the time period as a dark point of my life, but to be honest, I had my fun too. When O'Callaghan's Gaelic father married a Catholic, everything changed. He forced me to work the fields. No more raiding, no more girls. It was hell on earth, says one particular entry, dated 1462. To escape his father, O'Callaghan decided to become a monk. I was told by my mother that monks did little work and threw large feasts for the seasonal holidays. He joined the Abelara monastery in 1462, becoming a Cistercian. Unfortunately, however, O'Callaghan found the order too austere. He worked in the fields from dawn till dusk. Abbot Shaw wouldn't allow us to drink, and worst of all, the only girls were nuns. This was a deeper level of hell than I had ever imagined possible. Convincing a small group of his fellow monks to join the Dominicans, Darby left Ireland in 1463 for Italy, where we can hire farmers to do the work for us in the fields. Then, when we give our sermons, we can see the beauty of the Lord in the golden light of Italy and the soulful faces of the farmers' wives. Ultimately, O'Callaghan was kicked out of the Dominican order in 1493 due to repeated attempts to convert townspeople while in a drinking house. In Darby's own accounts, he claims that he had great success with his conversations, although the men refused to come to church, so I had to return to the alehouse for repeat visits to preach the word of the Lord and their receptive ears. O'Callaghan moved to the Romagna countryside in 1494, starting a monastery dedicated to the Order of St. Patrick in an abandoned church, but he did not have much success in securing converts. In 1500 he died of what had been described as bad blood, but was more likely syphilis. His body was buried in the small cemetery beside the church.
And the last one, Castel Sant'Angelo. Built between 135 and 139 as the tomb of the Roman Emperor Hadrian, the Castello Sant'Angelo was designed to be slightly larger than the mausoleum of Augustus because of the database as shown time and again, size does not matter. The building was converted into a military fortress in 401 and was promptly sacked by Visigoth leaders in 410 and scattered Hadrian's ashes everywhere. What was left was recycled, i.e. stolen by the Vatican. In the 14th century, the tomb was converted into a dark castle for the popes and connected to St. Peter's via a converted passage called the Passetto di Borgo. Reflecting the delightfully sadistic side of Renaissance papal rule, the castle contained both sumptuous apartments and a prison. Giordano Bruno, the famous scientist and hermetist, was held there for 6 years. Executions were carried out in the small interior courtyard for the Pope's enjoyment. That is every single database entry done. Get it. All done. And of course, it's a very short pointing episode as well. It's only about 10 minutes long, because obviously we're only doing viewpoints. But that is all the database entries done. I can now actually turn off Assassin's Creed 2 for the last time for this Let's Play. So I was obviously reading off the database entries. I'll turn that off. And that is this done. Wow! Exciting. Wow, I've literally got two viewpoints left. Sorry, all the noise and moving around and stuff. Right. So, like I said, this is the last pointing episode of Assassin's Creed 2. It started in Assassin's Creed 2, so now it's not the end, it's still beginning, it's still going to carry on, it's going to be a staple feature now. But what can I talk about? I'm thinking. Right, so usually when I finish Let's Play, because obviously this finishes next week, there's only 2 more episodes after this. Usually when I do this, I add something to my thing behind me, my shelves. It's the new thing I've done, I haven't really done it yet, because I haven't finished the Let's Play while I've had it open. However, what I do have is I bought the next trophy sort of thing for beating Assassin's Creed 2, which I'm going to put up there. I thought I'll open it up now. It is, of course, a pop figure, like the first game, the Assassin's Creed 1. I've got the Altair one, and I've got an Ezio one. I've got 2 Ezios, because I'm going to have one for the DLC that I did, and one for the actual story, because I want both, because I do. They look really cool, and I want them. So at the moment, I've only got the one. It's the black hooded Ezio, so the Altair's armour Ezio one, which is going to be for the DLC, which I think looks quite good. It's a lot better, because the first one had like a little white mark in the eye. This one doesn't, so that's good. The hood feels a little bit weird. Like, I don't know what material it's made of. Obviously vinyl, I'm guessing, but it's not too bad. I'm going to look at it. Hidden Blade's not too bad. One of them on the one with the hand, which hasn't got a glove, is a little bit poop. But no, that's good. I like that. I can go up there later. Obviously, I'll put that up on. When will I put it up? Probably not this pointing episode. Not this pointing episode. Not that. What's not going to say. Not this. Not this podcast. The Hobbies podcast. I won't put it up then. I'll put it up in not the next one, but the next one for those of you that watched this when it came out. So that's when I'll put it up, just in case you want to know. So I'll put it in the video. You know, it's going to happen from now on. Right, is this the last viewpoint? There's a bit of video left in here. I don't know why. Unless I've got some footage from something else as well. I'm not sure. We're about to find out. Yeah, but I think that's about it. That's what I just wanted to say. That's pretty much it, really. There's nothing else to say. I think this is it. Is that the last one? Oh no, I check in the database entry, DNA as well. That's it. Yeah, right. So that is pretty much this pointing episode done. I've done everything. So I just want to say thank you, pointers, for sticking with me and watching all these pointing episodes. It's not, like I said, this is not the last pointing episode ever. It's just the last one for Assassin's Creed 2. We're going to have more of these in the future in different games. Like I said, they're already in Overlord 2. They're going to be in, obviously, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. They're going to be in. So stick around, pointers. We're going to get more. There's going to be more. So yeah. But thank you for joining me, pointers. It's been fun. Like I said, this is a nice short one to end it on. But just checking to make sure I've done everything completely. All the assassination members done. Courier missions, treasures done. Right. And do I go and sit down with some sitters for the last time? Okay, I think I do. I just need to go and find them, or don't I? Okay, it appears I don't. Thank you very much, pointers. It's been an honour pointing with you. Farewell.